Hap Drop's live acoustic techno jam calls it revolutionary in a DAW-less setup with Animal Party. When techno meets acoustic guitars, it's like watching a robot try to play folk music, unexpected but oddly captivating.
When the guy who predicted the housing crash starts putting on puts, you might want to check your parachute.
Trump threatens to cut New York City's federal funds. Threatening to defund a city over an election result is like trying to win a chess game by flipping the board.
In the world of government, feeding families on time is a revolutionary act. Maybe next they'll invent a calendar.
Russia launches nuclear torpedo-carrying submarine, dubs it a peacekeeper. Because nothing says, "We come in peace," like a floating arsenal ready to obliterate ocean life. Just another day in the geopolitics of overcompensation.
CBP agent testifies about sandwich attack, describes it like a culinary critique. When your biggest concern is the aroma of onions and mustard, you've got to wonder if the real threat is lunchtime. Maybe next time they'll issue ketchup-proof vests to protect the nation's bravest from deli meats.
Trump administration escalates ICE raids, calls it a promise kept. When your campaign slogan is "Make America Great Again," apparently great means turning ICE into the nation's least wanted house guests. Nothing says progress like deporting families in the dead of night and calling it a political victory.
Big Peon releases Ride the Light claims it's open to interpretation. When a band says their song means something different to everyone, it's code for we couldn't decide what it was about either. The real mystery? How they managed to mix Britpop, indie, and classic rock into one track without causing a genre identity crisis.
Noé Roth trains intensively for months, finishes just shy of podium. In the world of sports, you can pour sweat, sacrifice sleep, and still find yourself applauding someone else's medal. Turns out, the real endurance test is keeping your smile intact.
NC GOP spokesman urges reporter to drop article, citing Trump ties. When a truth becomes an endangered species, nothing screams integrity like a political party asking the press to play fetch for their master. The new transparency, it's crystal clear there's none.
Only 20% of Europeans feel their purchasing power is improving, and the EU calls it progress. In the land of shrinking paychecks and ballooning rents, the EU's version of progress is like calling a paper cut a minor inconvenience while you're bleeding out.
Offset's new track, Different Species, drops on YouTube, promising trap beats for the discerning ear.
Europol identifies 654 mercenaries, including Bosnians suspected of Ukraine war crimes. War crimes? The ultimate career move when you can't quite make it as a villain in a Bond movie. Who needs fictional evil when reality is this grotesque?
When reality is rougher than a soundbite, sometimes you need a beat that hits like a revolution. Keep your ears open, folks.
Lily Allen becomes a wayward nun in new album visual, cigarette in hand, claiming divine rebellion. When holy vows break, sometimes all that's left is a cigarette, a habit, and a hymn to self-liberation. Hallelujah, Lily.
Researchers discover bank-bot wine arcade, delivery rat, Android Trojan siphoning financial data, yet banks tout mobile security.
Only 10% of Portland's tech visitors attend meetings, but local bars report record sales. Seems like Portland's business strategy includes more craft beer than conference calls. Who knew networking required so many hops?
Jennifer Lawrence avoids commenting on Trump, fearing it will fan the flames tearing America apart. Because nothing says unity like silence, right? Meanwhile, the fire's already a bonfire and Trump's marshmallows are roasting nicely.
Kim Kardashian blames ChatGPT for failing law tests as bar exam results approach. Because when in doubt, why not pin your legal fumbles on an AI? It's not like the Kardashians ever needed a scapegoat before.
NASA demands SpaceX and Blue Origin rush lunar lander plans by October 29th, despite Starship delays, because nothing says giant leap for mankind like a frantic scramble to outpace China's space ambitions, while Elon and Bezos play cosmic monopoly.
Only 20% of college students complete research projects, and universities call it a success. In a world where Google is the new library, college kids are left crafting dissertations from Wikipedia while debt grows like a fungus.
Ten richest Americans gain $700 billion, while the economy claims to be great again. As the rich dive into their Scrooge McDuck money vaults, the rest of America is left fishing for pennies in an empty wishing well.
Reddit user ZombieJesus1987 shares Children of Bodom's War Heart, then offers earplugs for the uninitiated. When melodic death metal sounds like a lullaby, you know your soul's already moshing in the pit of existential angst.
Only 30% of parents plan estates for kids, while pets get the royal treatment with wills and trusts. When Fido's future is more secure than your firstborn's, it's time to question if we're breeding humans or just heirs to pet kingdoms.
Gold clings to losses as dollar rises, then blames market move. When gold gets the blues, it's not about the dollar, it's about the traders who think a shiny rock can outsmart global chaos.
Georgian government likens protesters to Naruto's Akatsuki, proving they've confused political strategy with anime fan fiction. When your political critique relies on cartoon villains, maybe it's time to tune out the fantasy channel and face reality.
UPS plane crashes on takeoff, igniting fire, then cites weather. When the skies are clearer than a politician's promises, it's odd how weather always takes the fall. when the skies are
China ends tax rebates for gold jewelers, promising a golden opportunity to lose money. When the lure of tax relief is yanked away, it's like finding out your gold-plated dreams were just a cheap alloy all along.
Trump threatens Nigeria with military action over alleged anti-Christian persecution, while he's still struggling to find the on switch for empathy. It's a bold move to police morality abroad when your own backyard is a circus of hypocrisy. But hey, why not add international saber rattling to the list of distractions?
Man charged for threatening to kill President Trump online, while keyboard warriors everywhere continue their daily rage typing without consequence. In the digital age, a tweet can be mightier than the sword, but only if you wield it with a little more subtlety than a sledgehammer.
China resumes Nexperia chip exports partially, then blames supply chains. The Nexperia saga is like a bad soap opera. Tune in for the tech drama, stay for the geopolitical cliffhangers and the suspenseful supply chain blame game.
Trump expresses sympathy for British royals after Prince Andrew loses titles, ignoring the scandal that led to his downfall. When empathy extends to the privileged, maybe it's time to ask why the silver spoon still gets polished after it tarnishes.
Pennsylvania voters reject Republican bid to oust 3 Democrats from Supreme Court, signaling a shift in judicial power. When the gavel drops on GOP dreams, maybe it's time to reassess who's really holding the scales of justice.
EU capitals demand Frontex expansion, then target drone threats. When the EU hands Frontex more power, it's like giving a toddler a chainsaw. Expect more noise, less precision, and a lot of unnecessary cutting.
Belgium refuses to back €140 billion EU loan for Ukraine, risks IMF pulling the financial plug. When waffles hold up a war-torn economy, you'd better hope the syrup of solidarity doesn't run dry.
Wall Street CEOs predict stock pullback, then watch US stocks tumble. Listening to CEOs predicting market doom is like taking fashion advice from a fish. They swim in circles and hope you don't notice.
Politicians spend millions on meta ads attacking journalists, claiming it's just engagement strategy. When fact-checking becomes a contact sport and truth the ball, politicians are the ones buying the referees.
Health insurance costs soar over 20%, but insurers call it market adjustment.
When democracy's guardians fear their own constituents, maybe it's not the protesters who should be re-evaluating their tactics.
Zoran Mandani wins NYC mayor's race, defying political gravity. Turns out, when you mix progressive policies with a dash of charisma, you can climb the electoral ladder faster than a Wall Street stockbroker spotting a loophole.
Typhoon slams the Philippines, killing 2, while a Himalayan avalanche claims 7. Mother Nature's latest double feature, a typhoon and an avalanche, reminding us that she's still the ultimate disruptor, no matter how many climate summits we hold.
The White House bets on Supreme Court victory, but keeps a backup plan in its back pocket. When your main strategy relies on the whims of a court that sees justice as an optional accessory, maybe it's time to rethink your confidence game.
Trump's return triggers stock volatility, but AI rallies instead of promised stability. Turns out the real market bull isn't Trump, it's AI, which ironically shows more growth potential than the economic promises he tweets about at 3 a.m.
Only 30% of parents discipline their kids, and siblings' laughter is apparently the new parenting strategy. If your family's idea of emotional support is a comedy roast at your expense, maybe it's time for a new audience, or a better script.
Typhoon Kaulegi kills 46, and climate change deniers call it a coincidence. When Mother Nature throws a tantrum, it's not just roofs and cars that get submerged. It's our so-called leaders' promises of action, drowning in denial.
CBS claims 60 minutes of truth, then sells commercial breaks for corporate fairy tales. When your hard-hitting journalism is brought to you by the same folks selling you miracle creams, maybe it's time to question what's really blowing up.
Only 0% of dark Temptation fans admit to understanding the lyrics, and the band calls it a mystical experience.
Bag's intent release Sungaze EP, call it dreamy, while fans call it sleepy. When your music's a lullaby for insomniacs, you might want to rethink the ambient vocal journey, or just sell pillows instead.
House Democrat accuses Trump's DOJ of hiding Epstein inquiry, calls it a gigantic cover-up. Nothing says justice like sweeping dirt under a rug woven from the finest threads of denial and distraction.